Hi, welcome back to yet another tier list video where I am subjecting you to my beautiful opinion. Today we are going to be looking at the Arctic Monkeys albums, and I'm really excited about this because I am pretty familiar with these albums. Not that I wasn't familiar with the previous albums that I've rated, but here we go. We are going to jump into the first album, which, let's pull up Spotify. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Okay, track list here. This is, I bet you look good on the dance floor, View from the Afternoon, Fate Tales of San Francisco, Riot Band, Marty Bum. There are so many really good songs on this album. And I think that the Arctic Monkeys came in hot from the jump with a, I will say, classic album. So I'm going to throw that into their classic album. Yeah, there might be a skip or two, but overall this is a fantastic project. Introduces you to the band, introduces you to their sound that they're going to have moving forward and the evolution of it. I think that if you have not listened to this album, I don't know where you've been your whole life, but this is a fantastic album and deserves to be known as a classic. The artwork, classic. Everything, classic. Beautiful album. Heck yeah. All right, we're off to a hot start. They released their second studio album, which is Favorite Worst Nightmare. Now I'm looking at the track listing here. There is a few solid songs on the jump. I mean, Fluorescent Adolescent was an inescapable song for quite a while and got played out, but I'm not going to hold that against them. It's good. There's a reason why it was played out. 505 kind of makes this album. 505 is such a good song. You should definitely listen to 505. But when I'm looking through it, there's a lot of songs where I'm not super coming back to them. Ooh, this is tough. I mean, it's a good outing, great sophomore album, but I think I'm gonna have to throw it into B tier. It's good, but it's not great. And I know a lot of people do like this album. Again, in my opinion, don't sue me. But yeah, I think that it needs to live in B for now. I might change my mind later down the road. Probably not, though. Next album that they released is Humbug. Humbug is a great time. Oh yeah. Jump in, My Propeller, Crying Lightning, Cornerstone. Yeah, Humbug is a really solid outing, and I think it's a really good follow-up to my favorite worst nightmare. I don't think it's a classic by any means, but I do think it is a better album than my favorite worst nightmare. Again, don't sue me. I'm gonna throw this guy into the A tier. I think that I'm really okay with that decision. Good album, fun listen, takes you to a great place. Then we are going to jump into the next album, which is Suck It and See. I don't even really need to look at this track listing. Suck It and See is cool, for sure. It is probably the album that I'm gonna go back to the least out of all of these, but by no means do I think it's like a bad album. It's just not my favorite. I think it's pretty average. I don't think it's better than any of the albums that I've put on the list to this point. So for that reason, I am going to throw it into the C tier because it's just average to me. I think that the difference for me with music is and this is something we're going to get into later with some of the other albums, you have to be in a certain mood to listen to an album. And I don't feel like that bodes well for an album. I feel like listening to an album and it like shifts your mood and puts you in that place and takes you to wherever the artist wanted to take you. I think those are the albums that kind of stand apart from the rest, because when I've listened to some of these, I'm like, okay, I need to be in a very specific headspace in order to digest these albums and really appreciate them and enjoy them. But sometimes I just want to listen to music where it's going to put me in a good mood, or it's going to take me to a certain place or show me different things. So my little side rant aside, I think that is a very average. I don't even need to look at the track listing for AM. This is the first time in our tier list history that we have two classic albums. Now, I understand a lot of people are like, that's the album, that they had commercial success with. And this was the introduction for me to the Arctic Monkeys, and I went back and listened to their discography following AM. And honestly, there's zero skips on this album. I will fight any of you who thinks there's a skip on this album. There's no skips on AM. It is super awesome. I know a lot of people really wish they would go back to that sound, but I don't think that they should. I think they did what they needed to do. They made a masterpiece and they walked away. I think AM is a classic. It definitely gives me the same energy and the same feelings that whatever people think I'm not gives. And I can listen to that and it's going to take me to the place that they want to take me to versus these other albums. Moving on to the next album. We had Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. Yeah. This is what I was kind of talking about. I think this is really a really pretty album, really good. If you're a musician, musically inclined, there's really cool intricacies in there, and it's kind of a heady listen. And I think that they really showed off their chops and whatnot. But again, I have to be in a certain headspace in order to listen to this, in my opinion. So I think that maybe when I'm a little bit older and more mature and cooler, perhaps I will look back at this and rank it in a higher position. But I'm probably going to put this guy... it doesn't feel right to put it in the B tier, because it is really, really pretty and it's really cool. It does take you to a certain place. I think I'm going to throw this into A tier. I don't think it's a classic. I think that it could be looked back upon as a classic potentially, but I do think it's better than good. It is a great album. It's very pretty, like I said, but it's not for everybody. And I don't think that that's what they're going for when they're making this album. They weren't trying to make an album that is going to appeal to every single person. I think that the shift from AM sound to this sound was really fun of them to do. I do like when bands completely subvert your expectations. So then finally, we have the album that has come out. I think it came out last year. The Car. I was really excited about The Car. I was hyped. I heard the first single and I was like, okay, I hope this isn't the sound of the whole album. I think this is cool if it makes sense in the context of the album, but I don't want this to be the sound of the album. And then The Car came out and it's cool, but it just feels like we're going back to the same Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, which I didn't super enjoy, but I recognize that it's good. The thing with The Car is I feel like the sounds and the different things that are going on in this, I just really feel like I've heard already from them. I know that Alex Turner can do this. I know that he can write this way. I know all this stuff. It didn't really show me anything new. It didn't show me any kind of exponential growth, and that's just what I was looking for. I think that that's the issue with a lot of albums and songs that come out, is we have such expectations for them, and when our expectations aren't met, then we're like, oh, that's super mid, that's not great. And I don't think that this is a bad album by any means. I think it's better than Suck It and See, I'll tell you that. But it wasn't what I wanted, and this is my video, and so I'm gonna throw it into the B tier. I think I'm gonna come back and listen to this one just as much as my favorite Worst Nightmare. But I will say, because this one is fresh, the more I sit with it, the more that I listen to it, it could potentially move up in the rankings, but I feel good with it being at the good, but not great, because yeah, Hotel is just beautiful. So, jumping into our final rankings here in the classic album tier, making tier list history on this channel. Whatever people say I am, I'm not, and AM, classic albums. Great, but not quite classics. We have Humbug and Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. I've said what I need to say about those. In good, but not quite great, We have The Car, My Favorite Worst Nightmare, and in average, probably maybe gonna listen to it and be like, oh yeah, there's a song or two that I liked on there, but not enough for me to sit with the whole album, second and see. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If there's any other artists whose albums you would like for me to rank, I would love to do that. I have a list of albums that I'm trying to go through, but I'm very open to ideas, and I love to listen to new music, so if you have any music and I'm not familiar with it, I would love to sit and listen to it and figure it out. So, until next time,